and welcome to Nadya's Identity Files. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Do you ever think about what identity is broken down? There are actually 3 definitions of identity, but for fun, today I'm going to add in a 4th. The word identity has the Latin root idem, which by the late 16th century came to mean simply identity. Broken down loosely, the original definition of identity means to be the same. So, according to our friends at Merriam-Webster, the quality of being identical. But identical to what? To one another? To society? What does that mean? The next definition of identity is really in the individualistic sense. Identity can boil down to the simple fact of being oneself, broken down by our individual characteristics, so that those are the things that make us a fully realized person, a whole self. But my favorite definition of identity is actually the mathematical definition of identity. Yep, I'm going to go into some math now. I know it's daunting, but really it's more interesting than you might think. In mathematics, identity boils down to a transformation that leaves an object unchanged. So, that sounds a little paradoxical, right? how can you change but remain the same? Well, an interesting analogy is to think about a caterpillar morphing into a beautiful butterfly. Believe it or not, the caterpillar and the butterfly have the same exact DNA. So there's been a metamorphosis, there's been a transformation, but yet the core being is completely the same. So I think that's pretty cool. So now on to my 4th definition, or not really a definition, but more so an explanation of identity. And I kind of created this on the cusp, but not really. This explanation is really a reaction to a phenomenon that I'm seeing more and more every day because of our celebrity-obsessed culture. So, what I'm going to consider as a new explanation of identity is the toxic public identity. In other words, identity curated by existing in a public space. Identity created by celebrity or by a politician that's often derived by a negative vibe or feeling by those who are following these people. But then again, a lot of that exists by what's already put out onto the table, and then there's kind of this reflexive thing that goes back and forth that just amps everything up. Some may just call that narcissism, but I'd figured I'd create a more eloquent explanation. So I'm sorry I'm getting a little complicated, a little existential here, but what I'm talking about is going to lead into what we're going to discuss next, and that's Nadya's identity news. To start, let's talk about election 2016. Trump versus Clinton. The white, angry, narcissistic, misogynistic, racist versus the affair-enabling, crooked, uber-feminist, Wall Street panderer. And those are not my words. Those are the words that the general public has used to describe our 2 candidates. In fact, these 2 candidates, those are the 2 main identities that have been curated by the general public for these 2 people. But what can we do other than continue to watch the insanity boil up and these identities that have been created by the public be amplified? So, who are they really? In Hillary Clinton's case, her personality is not as easy to pin down as Donald Trump's, but that allows her to keep her extensive political background front and center. Many critics of Hillary find fault in her inability to be vulnerable. There's so much discussion about where's her vulnerability, where's her accessibility. She's not a real person. She's just a cold archetype. But how vulnerable can one be under so much pressure? And at the very least, Hillary sticks to the identity she's curated for herself, even though the general public has painted her as being this cold, untouchable thing. And she doesn't really let the ugly attacks affect her mission. But at the very least, the general public is crying out for more access into her background. But I honestly, at this stage, I don't think that we're going to get that. But On the other side of the paradigm, we have Donald Trump. And his political identity is no doubt toxic, and much of its toxicity is derived from his equally toxic follower base, much like a modern-day dictator. So today, I want to give Trump followers the benefit of the doubt. And, I'm not trying to get super political here, but I mean, the election and all the issues surrounding the election are all around us. It's so pervasive right now. So, while I don't understand the complexities of each individual Trump follower, what I have recognized is that many of them carry similar toxicity and negativity that Trump is bringing to the table at every debate, every public conference, and in every past video tidbit that's been extracted by the media to continually show just how really vile of a person he is. So, many Trump followers, they're low income, they're angry, they're going through a lot. They're often very sheltered and eager for a better life. So when they see Trump in this larger-than-life celebrity type of archetype, they let themselves be riled up by that. And they allow themselves to be riled up by his own angry sense of self, his own angry identity that he is curating for himself and allowing to explode in the public space. And every time that there's a reaction between the followers and him, his anger and his misogyny or whatever else the people are especially reacting to is being amplified. And, it's really just like throwing matches into a bonfire. And these matches are, of course, the followers, and Trump is the bonfire. So who is he really? An angry caricature. Another toxic public identity to think about is Kim Kardashian. I mean, what happened? What is going on with this robbery and this hoax business? On October 4th, Kardashian was reportedly robbed by people dressed up as police and held at gunpoint. All of her fabulous jewels got thrown out, and it was a whole big thing. And anyone who's been following this have probably heard that there was this crazy HuffPost article written by contributor Sharika Soul that indicated the whole thing was fake and the whole thing was a hoax. It was a publicity stunt to increase viewership for Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Well, not soon after that post came out, it got deleted from the web. And now investigations are supposedly ongoing. So toxic public identity. Well, if that robbery really did happen, let it be a lesson to Kim that she should maybe not show so much on social media with respect to these jewels and everything else, all kinds of fabulous that she has going on. If it isn't true, well, that's toxicity, narcissism, and delusion at its finest. Yeah. Meanwhile, in news not concerning identities pumped up by ego, the people of Haiti are struggling to recover from the devastation of Hurricane Matthew. As of Monday, the death count is now over 500, with hundreds more displaced. What I'd like to know is, where are the Facebook profile filters in reaction to this tragedy? Where are the numerous hashtags? Where is the public outcry? I'm not feeling a lot of concern from the general public about this horrible disaster that's impacted the Haitian people. Is it because Haiti is a third world nation comprised of people of color? The identities of the Haitian people are unrelatable, perhaps, for the average spoiled American. I hate to generalize, as the show is about the eradication of generalization, but that's pretty much the status quo we are dealing with. So hashtag prayers for Haiti. Moving on to our interviews in just a moment, I'm going to have Tiffany Scott, who is the founder of You, Me, She Collective, come to the table and chat with me a bit about what she does, as well as Jackie Ho, who is founder of Model Baker. I look forward to coming right back with these two fabulous entrepreneurial women in just a bit.